first webinar. We're excited to be able to share some updated partner support that we'll be able to provide to you. But most importantly, you know, in a year when there is absolutely nothing normal, but the need and the support for kids out there is tremendous. We really just cannot thank you all enough for your commitment to our mission of providing new winter coats to kids that need them, and we couldn't do it without you. So with that, thank you for being here today, and I will turn it over to Laura to get on with the good stuff.
Thank you, Heather. So yes, thank you everyone so much. We're really excited that you're all here and that every one of you will be helping us carry out our mission of giving coats to kids again this year. So just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. So we are going to, because we have such a great turnout, we're going to put everyone on mute if you haven't already done so yourself. And then we're going to have a Q&A session at the end where if you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand, and then we will call on you in the order that you raised your hand. In addition to that, if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to plop them in the chat, which is at the bottom of the screen. Enter your questions there so you don't forget them, and then we will answer them during the Q&A. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we can get started here. All right, so on the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about COVID contingency plans, which has been a hot button topic at Operation Warm for obvious reasons this year. And then we're going to go through the brand new partner portal. We revamped it this year and we're super excited to share it with you. So we'll be presenting that along with some of the new materials that we have created for you all to use. And then we're going to hop back to the screen and introduce some of the Operation Warm team that you may or may not have worked with over the years. So you can put a face to a name, hopefully. And then after that, like I mentioned, we're going to have a Q&A. I'd like to leave a decent amount of time for Q&A because we do really want to use this time to hear from you, to hear what you're thinking for this year. If you have any questions on the contingency planning that we're going to be going over, just really an open conversation. So as Heather mentioned, and you've seen all over the headlines now more than ever, right? More kids this year are going to need coats than ever before. The low-income families have been just so tremendously affected by the coronavirus, and our job is to help you serve these communities. So we have put together a couple of different contingency plans that we hope will help all of you that have previously given coats to kids in person. So we do know that many of you have always just shipped directly to organizations, which is fantastic. But for those of you who have traditionally gone to the schools or the shelters or the organizations that you're serving and handed the coats to the kids in person, we wanted to give you some other ways that you can facilitate that this year. So what do these look like? We came up with 3 contingency plans that we think will work for a variety of different partner types. So another thing to note is that with the pandemic going on, everything is different from community to community. There really is no, there's nothing that's consistent really. So if you look at a school district in Ohio, it might be totally different than a school district in California. So this is, take all of this and really just, you can sort of bend it and use it to fit the community that you're serving. So the first of these is the modified traditional. And this is basically if you're able to go to the organization that you've chosen to serve and give out the coats in person, fantastic. It might just look a little bit different. So we're saying that if you decide to actually go and distribute them in person, that you could do maybe a ticket system. So you can hand out tickets to the kids. They can come through in a very organized manner so that there aren't as many children in one place at one time. We know that these events can get a little bit congested. So keeping social distancing in mind. And then obviously we want to consult with the beneficiary organization to ensure that all volunteering opportunities are pre-approved and in line with those state and local guidelines. We are providing additional sizing tools this year, which I will go into in further detail in the partner portal demo. But they are modified to adhere to the social distancing guidelines for those of you who have physically sized the kids by trying on the coats. The next would be contactless delivery, which is my personal favorite because I think it's pretty fun. So this is basically a drive-through model or an outside station. So you still get to see the kids and give out the coats to the kids in person. However, the kids would drive up with their families, get the coat, and then continue on their way in a contactless manner. So in this scenario, the coats would be distributed on a first come, first served basis. So you would put together an order using our sizing tools, and then as the kids drive through, hand them the size that that's appropriate for the student. So that's a fun way to engage the kids, and you could have a little parade. The third option would be a basic service collaboration. So this sort of assumes that you are not able to do any sort of in-person event, but you still, obviously we still need to serve these kids, and there are ways to do that. So even if the schools are not open and they're running on a totally virtual basis, many, if not all of them, are still doing school lunch programs. Food banks, firefighters still have access to their communities. I know we have a couple of you guys on here right now, so I'm interested to hear what you all are planning. But there are definitely basic service collaborations that you can utilize to get the coats to the kids in a way that isn't necessarily through the school or the organization that you're serving. And then of course the same parameters as our contactless delivery model, first come, first served basis and all that good stuff. So next, I think Rich is going to pull up a poll to see which of there it is. So which of the models that we just outlined do you think that your program will use? The modified traditional, contactless delivery, or the service collaboration? I'm excited to hear what the others are. All right, so modified traditional looks like it won out. So we'll come back to this in the Q&A so that we can hear everybody's plans, and I definitely want to hear from the others so that we may get some ideas that we can present to our other partners as well. So I'm going to stop sharing these results and continue on with this. And then a second poll, because we are ready to go into the live partner portal demo, is how many of you have used the partner portal in the past? So we're curious to see how in depth we want to go with this, if you're brand new to it or if it's something that you've used in the past. And for the not sures, the partner portal is our online site that you can log into to view resources, fundraising resources, and also to place your coat order, if that helps with any confusion. Awesome. Cool, so it's about 50-50. Good to know, good to know. All right. So as we mentioned before, we have really worked hard to revamp our partner portal this year. so that we can provide wonderful customer service to you and give you all of the tools that you need to run a successful program, even in these crazy times. So we put together, as you'll notice that it looks a little bit different than it did last year. So we've reformatted it so it's a little bit more user friendly. Everything is laid out a little bit more cleanly, so you can just glance at the screen and see exactly where you want to go. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to start with the Find Children to Serve, because that's pretty much step one of the program. So I'll click on here, and I'm not going to go through this in depth, but I just want to give you all an overview of what you can find on here. So we have provided a bunch of different links depending on what type of beneficiary you're looking for. So if it's an elementary school, you would click on this link and use the search bar to find an elementary school in your area that has a high free or reduced lunch percentage. Local Head Start programs, we have the link for that, and then a couple of different resources for finding community organizations as well. So that's a great way to gauge the need in your community and really find the kids that will need it. And then we have some fundraising tools. So this COVID contingency document will outline the options that I just went through in a little bit more detail. So this is, we put this here so you have it handy if you ever need to reference it again. The fundraising letter and email template, I really want to focus on, because it is just so important that we are asking our donor base for support this year. As Rich always tells us, and he's heard from all of the fundraising gurus out there, the number one mistake that people make when fundraising is they don't ask enough. And maybe you ask once, but you don't follow up. And as you know, that everybody gets busy. So you really have to make sure that you are engaging your donor base and following up with them to make sure that, you know, you're at the top of their inbox. So we have provided fundraising email and letter templates that are a multi-level approach. So it doesn't just give you one email to send, it gives you a series of emails so that you can shoot them out as reminders. And we always like to tell people that you're really doing your donors a favor by asking them to donate, because donating makes people feel good. It just does. You know, you click the donate now button and you get a rush of you know, you're doing something good. So don't be afraid to ask your donors to provide support to your program. Now, everybody, it's really in the spotlight how much need is out there. So you should really feel comfortable this year more than ever, just really getting out there and asking your donors to support your local children. We have a fundraising flyer template over here, which I can't see because your faces are there. Some fundraising ideas that have worked well for our partners in the past, which is a great one to check out. Some logos to use on your fundraising materials or on your social media if you're using social media to promote your program. Some tips for online fundraising, and a fundraising letter template. So some really great tools in here for you to check out so that you can, most of these are based around a virtual fundraiser. So they're a little bit different than they have been in years past. So after fundraising tools, we'll jump through to the coat order information. So as we mentioned before, we have tweaked these a bit as well, because we know that sizing in person might not be feasible this year, or probably won't be feasible this year. So there are 3 different tools. The coat measurement and fit guide is probably my favorite. So this I'll open up quickly here. Not so quickly, apparently. Well, this doesn't seem to be loading, so I don't know if it's my internet or what it is, but this is how to determine a size using a tape measure. So if you're serving a smaller organization and it's important that you size every child, this is a great resource to pass along to the beneficiary organization and have their staff just do a quick measurement. It's down the arm, down the back, super simple. To determine sizes that way. And there's a cute little diagram on there that will help you to make it super clear, super easy. Coat sizing by grade is exactly what it sounds like. It's the percentages of children by grade level and what size they would typically wear. And this is all collected, this is created by data that we've collected over the years through our events that shows exactly that, how many students at each event take, whatever size coat. So this is another great thing to be able to pass along to the beneficiaries for as guidance, and also for you to just put together an order yourself and then direct ship it to the organization that you're serving. And then lastly, a spreadsheet that will help you to build your coat order. And there are a couple different tabs on this spreadsheet that are suited for different scenarios. One, if you've already collected the sizes, so your organization has said, hey, here are all the sizes we need, put it into an order, and that will help you put the number of coats into the boxes that you'll eventually need. Another is for serving groups over 200 students. If you have one of those larger orders, you can also use the data that we've collected at our previous events to put together an appropriate order for that sample size. So basically you would collect the grade, age, and gender of each student that you're planning to serve from the school, plug that into the spreadsheet, and it would shoot out an order for you that you can easily go and put into the shopping cart. So just really great sizing resources here that accommodate a couple of different scenarios for collecting sizes. We also have some coat celebration tools. So if you are doing an in-person event, we have some photo waivers, class distribution schedule. I'm not going to go too into depth here because a lot of these probably won't be applicable this year because we won't be doing as many in-person events with media and all of that jazz. But if that is something that is going to work for you this year, that's fantastic. And all of those resources are here for you to use. We also have an FAQ tab, which has all of the questions that we get a lot on our partner support line. So we can questions about ordering, fundraising, you name it, and plops them into a quick handy FAQ for you. And then last but certainly not least, we have our online shopping cart. So when you are ready to order coats, you can click on that button. And we have a nice little icon up here that gives you the super quick guidelines for ordering. So minimum order 36 coats, individually wrapped, and can be ordered in boxes of 6 or 12. This year, we don't usually play up the fact that our coats are individually wrapped. It's just how they are. But this year, that is definitely great for sanitation. Each of them come in their own bag labeled with the size, so you don't actually have to touch the coat that's inside the box in order to give it to the child. Same size and gender in a variety of different colors in each box, so that's the same as always. If you're ordering more than 12 coats in a single size and gender, we would love it if you would select 12 packs. It just is super, super helpful for us if you select the 12 packs in your order so that we can ship one box instead of 2 6 packs out to you. Coats will be shipped once your donation has been received, and we ask that you allow about 10 business days for processing and shipment. And that's from the time you place your order and your donation is received to the time that the coats arrive at your door. So we've done a little bit of restructuring. You'll notice that this looks a little bit different than it did last year. It's mainly just the icons, but we did also switch out how we laid out this categories bar here to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate. So if you're looking for a box of youth boys coats, you'll click on youth boys. And if you know that you need 12 packs, click 12 packs and it'll only bring up the 12 packs. Same with 6 packs. So it just limits the option. That way you're not scrolling through pages of different coat options. It only gives you what you want to be looking at. So that is how the shopping cart is structured. And then you can view your cart. and check out. We've also eliminated a couple of the questions that you have to go through before you can check out, just to make it a little more streamlined and a little simpler for you all to use. So I'm going to go back here, but one thing I do want to mention, when you are checking out, if you need us to send you an invoice, you're going to select deferred payment. And I'm just mentioning that because it's not necessarily intuitive. So we wish that we could rename it, but for some reason we can't. So deferred payment basically means send me an invoice. If you select that option, then we will send it over to our accounting team. They'll shoot you over an invoice. And then once that invoice is paid, then we will go ahead and ship out the coats. And then of course you have the option to pay with the money that's already in your account, or a credit card when you're checking out as well. So the last thing I'll show you on here is the My Account tab. And I don't know if Max is on the call today. I think he signed up, but we're using your account, Max, if you're here as a demo. So this is new this year. It shows your account name and then the balance that you have in your Operation Warm account. So if you're ever wondering, oh, hey, how much money do I have with you? You can just click on the My Account page and view your balance right here. So that comes in handy throughout your fundraising, but also especially when you're going to place your orders. It's great to be able to see that information on there. And then you can also see any orders that you have placed through our online shopping cart right here. So it'll show you the number of boxes in each of the different sizes that you've ordered, which is great if you want to look back and say, oh, what did I order last year? You can come right here, check out what you ordered, and then if you want to base your order on that, then you can do so in the shopping cart. So that is our shopping cart demo. I'm going to switch back here to this PowerPoint. And now I want to introduce some of our wonderful Operation Warm team members. We have really loved using Zoom, and we use Microsoft Teams a lot to have meetings this year. And it's not something that we've really used in the past, but it's been really cool to just put faces to names and be able to meet people virtually that maybe you have never met in real life. So we wanted to take this opportunity to do that and introduce ourselves to you. So Rich, if you want to go ahead and unmute our team, we can go around and in the order that's up here. And introduce yourselves. And then one fun thing I thought maybe kind of neat was for all of us to say what more than a coat means to them, because more than a coat is our tagline. So Heather, you can kick it off whenever you're ready.
So I've already gotten to introduce myself. And again, thank you all for being here today. You know, I shared a post last night about what more than a coat means to me. And, you know, I think just for us, you know, we are seeing the barrage of wish list requests come in. So when I think about my role at Operation Warm, with working with our partners and working to increase our fundraising, that's what more means to me. So I'm motivated more than ever before to provide the support that you all need and to look for new partners who will help us meet the need this fall and winter.
Liz, you're up.
Hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. Hi, I'm Liz. I think I've worked with a lot of you over the years. You might hear from me about your shipping and your coat orders. And I've been here 13 years. And more than a coat what it means to me is just giving a child confidence and giving them something new and letting them know that someone's caring about them and we're trying to keep them warm.
And for those of you who haven't worked with Liz, Liz is such a big player at Operation Warm and does so much. Not only does she do our shipping and logistics, but she also works on our partner support team. So when you call in, she and her team will be the ones primarily answering your questions and helping you out with all of your fundraising and coat needs. So big thank you to Liz. She does a lot. Is Mike on? I'm not sure if he was able to join.
Oh, nope.
No. So
His power
Mike,
is still down.
oh my goodness. So Mike lives out in Salt Lake City, Utah, and they had crazy storms last night. So his power is out and he was unable to join us. But Mike is wonderful. He's been with Operation Warm. I believe this is his second year. Is that right?
Mhm.
And he manages our partnerships in the Western region. So hopefully you all will have a chance to meet Mike sooner rather than later. You're up, Rich.
Hi, I'm Rich Lally. I know many of you. I'm going into my 12th coach season. Very exciting, and probably more need this year than any that I've been around. So what More Than a Coat means to me is a gift of hope, especially when the children have some idea as to where the coats come from. I learned that from a principal on the west side of Chicago a number of years ago, and it really stuck with me.
Me?
Yep.
Your turn first.
Hi guys, I'm Kirsten Bradley. I am the partnership director on the team and I work in the Eastern region with Laura. I'm going into my 5th season with Operation Warm, and More Than a Coat to me is confidence, is the smiles that we see on the kids' faces, and you know, the kids that go from feeling uncertain and a little not sure when they come in to, you know, flashing their coats by the time they leave. And that's the most meaningful thing to me about the coats. And I'm really looking forward to working with anyone who's on here who's with me.
And that brings it to me. So I'm Laura. I actually don't know if I introduced myself at the beginning of all this, so sorry about that. I'm Laura. I'm going into my 7th season with Operation Warm. And I started out, and still work very heavily, but started out only working with firefighters. And so More Than a Coat to me was one of the first times I thought about it was when a firefighter said to me that kids always see firefighters on their worst day. And for them to be able to turn around and make it a positive experience and show them that their firefighters are there and their community is there for them on like throughout the year and any given day was really impactful for me. So just the thought that their communities are there supporting them and there to help. So that rounds out the Meet the Team, and now we are going to go into our Q&A. So I think what will probably be best is if I stop sharing my screen, that way I can see more of your faces, and we can address any questions that came in via chat. And then if you have a question now, you can raise your hand and we will field those questions.
Laura, we've been answering a few of the questions as they've come into the chat. But if there are additional things to clarify, I see a question here regarding access to your organization account. It should most likely try your email address, and then if you forget your password, you can hit forget password to reset that. But it looks like Liz is going to send Rhonda you an email to reset everything.
So if you want to ask a question, if you raise your hand, then we'll let you get unmuted. And the raise your hand is on the participants panel. If you click the participants icon at the bottom toolbar, you'll get a panel and you should be able to raise your hand. Or you can just go like this.
It looks like Laura must have done a good job.
Oh, I see some
Char.
hands.
There's Char.
Okay.
Char.
Hello, my name is Shar Vukovic and I'm with the Norwalk Rotary in Norwalk, Iowa, suburb of Des Moines. I know the coats come from China, and I know the price is going up. That is correct, right?
Pricing's the same this year.
For this,
For this year is the same as last year?
Yes.
correct.
Okay. Is there ever any possibility of the coats being manufactured in the United States rather than out of the United States?
So we did that
We
for,
started a manufacture. Oh, go ahead.
so we
You got it, Rich.
manufactured coats in the United States for about 4 or 5 years. Those coats required funding of $34 a coat. And we had some takers for that, particularly the union firefighters that work with us, who very much wanted American-made coats. But in order to have that be a sustainable program, we needed to get an ongoing volume of about 100,000 coats a year. And we were never able to get to that level. And without that, we couldn't be running a line year round. And the cut and sew operations that we were working with didn't want to do business with us if we were just going to be part year. So they would start with us, and then they would say, you got to go find somebody else. And so we gave it a good try, but the majority of our partners were more interested in serving as many children as their funding would allow, as opposed to supporting the American-made initiative.
I understand that. That's just curious.
Yep.
How many coats do you talked about 100,000 coats. How many coats are you now with funding the way it is and the costs the way it is? How many coats per year do you distribute?
This year we have 450,000 coats that we will be distributing through our partners.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shar.
And we've been at that, right around 400,000 for a couple of years now.
There was another hand earlier, but I don't remember who it was. Wendy?
Wendy, I gotta find you here to unmute you. If I can. So Wendy, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Okay, I'm there. So last year, I'm sorry, I'm Wendy. I'm from the Waxhaw Weddington Rotary in Waxhaw, North Carolina. And last year we did a coat giveaway at a local school. This year we probably would not be able to get in the school due to all of the restrictions that have been placed on schools. I didn't know if anybody has already had any experience with giving away coats in that kind of arena, or, excuse me, I have visitors, or if you have made arrangements to have giveaways to kids in other areas such as fire departments, police stations, outside facilities for certain areas. And if you do you make it just for kids in that school, or do you open it up for everybody? How would you work that?
So, what we have found is that most of the schools, even those that are totally meeting virtually, are still providing services to families that qualify for free or reduced lunch. They've found ways to do food distributions, and through that same logistical plan, and it's going to vary from district to district, most schools are more than not only willing, but delighted to figure out a way to get coats to their children. So I'd suggest you talk to the schools. One of the programs that we didn't talk about that we've developed this year, we're calling Warm Thoughts, and we're working on a version of this for our community heroes partners like you all, where we have a couple of templates of pages that look like pages out of a children's coloring book, one with a snowman, one with reaching for the stars, one with a winter coat. Do you want to have a snowball fight or something like that? And we can make that template available for you. You can put your organization's logo on it and then distribute that to your members, who can color those pages in, maybe with your kids or your grandkids, and then get a bunch of those to the school along with the coats. And that's a way for some personalization connection virtually, if you will, between your members or members of your organization and the children who are getting the coats, and let them know, pass along a little bit of that hope that I talked about.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else that's on have any recommendations for what they're planning?
So Sarah Shippey has her hand raised.
Oh,
Maybe she's
sorry.
got a comment.
I didn't see that.
Hi, sorry. I was just asking, I wanted to ask about the coat colors. Last year, there was sort of a chart. I know we can't order by color, but just so we know kind of what's coming. Or is it going to be the same as last year?
It is not the same as last year. I'm not sure that we have those same coat cards available this year. Heather?
I don't think we do.
Where
but
did we land on that?
I don't think we do, but we can share, we can share a version of like what the color makeup is. Well, we'll follow up on that for you.
One of the things that you should know is that we change our colors up every year, although we always have pink and white and pink and pink. We always have purple, right? But what's really exciting, for the last couple of years, we've been getting consulting help from our corporate partners with Abercrombie and Fitch and their designers, and with Benjamin Moore, the paint company, who sets the color palette for the coming year. Their color specialists also provide us some input. So we know our colors are always on trend. And as I said, we always have the standards, but the combinations will change, and even the pink might change, you know, a shade of pink to a different shade of pink.
Yeah, our friends at TJX also weigh in on that. And one of the recommendations they had a year ago was for us to do some more solid coats. And so we took that recommendation as well. So, you know, part of our mission is we want, you know, kids receiving Operation Warm Coat to feel as good about their coat as they would if they went to the store to pick it out. So that's front and center part of what we make sure that we do every year.
I see Patrick Murphy has a virtual hand up, and then we'll get to those who are raising their hand in front of the camera. Patrick, you want to unmute yourself?
There we go. Awesome. Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Just wanted to share what we were doing in Essex for getting in touch with schools. What we've done in the past and we're doing again this year, we're explicitly getting in touch with the school nurses at each of the 10 schools that we distribute to, because they've been the ones who traditionally know the students most in need, you know, for distribution for that. And then we basically give them the forms and then have them come back to us with the specific numbers and needs that they have. That way we, you know, especially this year, you know, we don't necessarily need to have direct involvement with the kids. We're not doing the measuring ourselves, you know, as part of the Rotary, but we do have people who are able to, you know, actually be there, who know the kids really well, that will get us the exact sizes that we need.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Pat.
Jill, you have your hand up.
Hey, Rich knows, I'm a huge Operation Warm fan. Been doing it with 2 different Rotary clubs. I love everything about you guys. You do an awesome job. Liz solved crisis last year with shipping. The coats they run really small. And we know that, but it's always a problem. We do an in-person distribution. We're not doing it this year, but am I the only one? Like it has to affect everyone who directly interacts with kids. Like we have to steer them typically to the next size. And I'm wondering why that is. They're definitely like a size off. That's been my experience, and maybe I'm just crazy, but I wonder if other people have had that experience.
Yep, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we know that is the experience. when we work with our manufacturers, there's spec'd out sizes for, how the coats are designed. But, I think generally speaking, I always say as a mom with coats and pajamas, the general rule is to size up anyway. And so, we provide that guidance in as many places as we can. And our sizing tools are based on the actual size of the coat.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as long as you're following those and using those tools, and we have a new tool on the partner portal that shows based on the actual sizes of children and grades, what size coat they actually took and what fit them.
Okay.
So, I think that will help, continue to provide guidance in that way.
It's not been the ordering process. It's been, the distribution when we have people come in and we match them up, one volunteer per family. And I always tell the volunteers, make sure you, especially if they are questionable, go to the next size. So we'll keep bearing with it. But it would be a problem if we were the first, in the past, when I went to my new club, we did a thing where we pre-ordered, and that was a disaster because all the sizes they put on the sheet, like nobody fit. So now we're not going to do that anymore. So anyway, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Connie's had her hand up for a little while. Connie Martin. Rich, I don't know if you can unmute.
He's unmuted now.
Okay.
Okay, we've, Kiwanis Club of Somerset, Kentucky. We've been going through Operation Warm for a few years now. And during that process, we have noted from year to year a change in quality and style, like linings or no linings. What is it this year that we can expect?
So this year, all of our coats will be fleece lined. If you're talking specifically about last year we had a whole slew of issues with our inventory. So we ended up having to source from all sorts of different manufacturers, which in turn, a lot of our partners got a mix of coats from different manufacturers that weren't necessarily Operation Warm coats. So that was definitely a one-off situation. This year we have coats in stock in our warehouse. They're all Operation Warm fleece lined coats that we'll be shipping out to you. So hopefully all of those issues will be taken care of this year. But
Okay, last year was a little crazy.
it was for
us.
all of us.
So,
We don't want a
checking.
repeat of last year either.
Just checking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Connie.
One note when you're ordering, if you're ordering a fairly sizable order, if you're ordering 12 or more of a size, we would ask you to order 12 packs. That's more efficient for us from a cost manufacturing perspective and from a shipping perspective. And as you can imagine, at the end of the day, the lower our cost structure, the longer we're able to keep our funding requirements the same. So we work really hard to not have to have pricing increases. We tend to do it about every 4 or 5 years, but it's by watching pennies that we're able to do that.
Sarah has her hand up.
Jar or no? Me? No.
Rich, can you unmute Sarah? Shippy?
Yeah, everybody should be unmuted now.
There she is.
Thanks. Okay. So
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So the price is 20 and 22. Where's the price? What size do we go up to at $20? And then where does the $22 price start size wise?
So 2T through size 18 is 20. And then the junior or adult sizes, which are small through extra, extra large, are 22. And just for all of you to note, the quantity discounts start at 500 coats again this year. So if you're going to be placing an order over 500, we recommend you get in touch with us to make sure that we have your pricing correct on the online shopping cart and everything is all set for you.
Okay, and before I go away, I wanted to ask Jill, you had talked about you had trying to pre-size them in order and it didn't work out. So what system are you using now? Are you just kind of doing we know we're going to be dealing with a certain grade range, so we're buying that way, or how are you? Because we had the same problem. We had to size everybody up, and then we ran out of like the middle sizes. We ran out of really quickly, and so we're putting kids into a 2 or 3 size bigger.
Every year I've done this except for 2 years ago where we pre-ordered. We've just ordered coats and then it's first come, first serve. Like we know what age group but we've done it as a community-wide issue. Somebody asked you just, we've done it in partnership with libraries or other agencies, and it's just first come, first serve. So when we run out of that size, we just run out of that size.
Okay.
I've gotten smarter every year with ordering, and then you just totally get thrown off. Last year all my instincts were totally wrong, so I have a lot of coats left in one size that I thought I would get rid of, but it's just, you just have to take a chance, because we found that pre-ordering was, we still were way off. So
okay, thank you.
Dara, did you have a question?
Well, I had that same question. If you don't pre-order, how do you know what to order and how much to spend? We pre-order, we send a survey through the electronic email through the school system in our town. And then there's a couple other people that we give paper order blanks to, a couple other organizations where we know coats are needed. And it's not too bad, because we really, really emphasize order up at least one size, what you think you need. So it's worked out pretty well, but I was just curious about the presentation earlier about this sizing tool that you have, a little diagram about measuring. And if that little diagram could go onto our order form, that might be helpful. And we can, I can figure that out, but I can't imagine just ordering blank. And then what we do is we have a time, two times when people can come and pick up their coats. And I have them organized according to their family when they come. So, or according to I have the coats all organized by size, and then we go pick up, and then they're able to pick out a color, whatever colors we have. Colors have never been an issue. People are just so grateful to get a coat. Most times they don't care what color it is, even though when they get to the car, maybe somebody complains to their mom, but they seldom complain to us about color. So, so whatever you send us color-wise is fine, is absolutely fine. So I'm hoping that, now that being said about that sizing tool, a lot of our families, it's probably just not in their skill set to do that sizing. So we just guess. And and then as far as pickup this year, we usually do our giveaway at a church, which is a pretty big fellowship area, and we can spread out. So that's helpful. But we're going to do a drive-through, I think, and just do it by family, and hope that we've done it now this is only our 4th year, because our Rotary Club is young. And we're going to hope that the families that we serve have done it before and will understand. So, and I always end up with extra coats. And right now I have lots of tiny coats. So I could have a lot of toddlers come through and be real happy. I just wondered about that sizing tool, if it can be put on my order form that we send out electronically. So, but I can probably do that.
Yeah, I think sending those two together is a great idea. To provide
I'm going to
some
share my
guidance.
screen, and you'll be able to see what the tool
Oh,
looks
thanks,
like.
Rich.
I brought it up.
That's good.
So you can see here, this is the bottom of the tool and then the top. So girls, and there's 3 measurements across the chest, across the shoulder, and the sleeve length.
Yeah.
And, it shows how to do that in this little diagram. So
Okay.
we got a little bit fancier in our graphic display for this information than we presented less information than we have in the past, so that it makes it less confusing for people.
Okay. Okay.
And you can get that off the partner portal and download it. It's a PDF. You could also, then maybe take a screenshot of it and paste it onto a Word document or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking we could probably do. And maybe that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or comments from anybody? Guess not. Oh, Sarah.
I've been typing my questions in the chat because I feel like I've been asking a lot. But everybody just holds their codes from last year and uses them as part of their distribution this year, right? I mean, there's no reason to not carry over and even though the colors are going to be a little different, there's no problem with that. Okay.
No problem with that.
Cool.
More variety. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we go to 8 different schools.
Wow.
To do this.
Wow.
So it's, we partly pre-order, we ask the schools to tell us how many kids there are and guesstimates on the sizes, and then we just bring that plus enough up in size to accommodate the kids we're gonna, so we don't carry, because last year we ordered like 260 coats. We don't bring those to every school. So.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. If nobody else has any other questions or comments, thank you all again for taking the time out of your day to be here, and more importantly, for your continued support. We appreciate each one of you, and we're excited to work with you again this year. So we are going to post this if you want to reference it later or share it with any of your team members. And of course, if anyone has any follow-up questions, we are here to help. So let us know.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ending the meeting for everybody. Goodbye.